What are we talking about? The Bills win yesterday, or what do you guys got for me?
You had most of your team there, didn't you?
Yeah, it was fun. The guys all went. Their girlfriends' wives all went, and it's pretty cool actually. I think it's important our players feel that energy from the fans and the excitement, and they were all talking about this morning. It was pretty cool.
Why Kyle?
Sorry, Kevin. Got some kind of audio weird thing happening. Doing this. Not going on.
Yes.
I feel like. Right.
Slide right up there. That's all right. That's yours. That's yours.
Well, somebody check that, make sure I didn't screw it up. It's still rolling.
All right.
All right.
Kevin,
Now we're good.
It's not a surprise that Kyle is the captain of this team, but when it came down to it, I guess what qualities that really make him and obviously put that letter on him?
Well, there's so many. I think Kyle is someone that has so much respect within our locker room, within our organization, within the community, within the hockey world. That's just his reputation, and as good of a player as he's been and is in his career, he's a better person. And I just think he's clearly the leader, and just the way he handles himself every day on and off the ice has been a great example for our young guys. And yeah, we're excited to have him and his family. I said the same thing. Danielle is an amazing person as well, his wife, and she leads in her own way when it comes to the families, and so it's really we're fortunate to have that family with us.
I get this sense from players that if you would have taken a vote from the players, you probably would have the same captain.
Yeah, I can't imagine anyone was surprised by that, and yeah, it's just what I'm excited about with our group, and I said this to the team a couple days ago. I feel we have really strong leadership within our locker room, and just players are in different points in their career, but I think the way Kyle, Zemgus, especially that have been here the longest, as veteran guys, kind of lead these younger guys and help them understand what it's about on and off the ice, will help them become better leaders. But I think about the amount of players in that locker room that are leaders in their own way, have been leaders, at different points in their career. I get excited. So it certainly doesn't change how we're doing things, but just, validating the work that Kyle's done specifically for him, I think is important.
Kevin, what is the symbolism involved with having Dahlin as an A, now a former #1 overall, almost like the next level of his career?
Yeah, I think some of it, Mike, is consistency. Last year, I thought Rasmus, and Donnie and I spent a lot of time talking about this, took a huge step in his career. And, when there were guys out of the lineup, Rasmus, had an A last year, which almost felt like he thrived and loved that and took ownership of that. And I think it speaks to the way Rasmus he's had a target on his back since the day he, had his name called, and he's come in here. He's still a young player in the league, but he's been through a lot. He's grown. One of the things I love about Rasmus is he's driven to be the best he can possibly be. And just by nature of the way he approaches every day, he makes the players around him better too. He raises the standard of everybody. And I think that's just, him getting more comfortable and confident in the league has helped his leadership, and ultimately why we felt the most comfortable with that.
What does it say about your team where you are now? If you had done this 2 years ago, you'd have been saying, well, who's going to wear a letter? And now you probably had 7 or 8 or 9 guys who could have wore a letter.
Totally, and that's kind of what I was saying. Look at our room. You think guys like, and I've talked to guys like Alex Tuck and guys like Casey Middlestad and Tage Thompson and Dylan Cousins and Samuelson and Owen Power. These guys they're leaders in their own way, and there's more that I haven't even mentioned. A kid like Jack Quinn has played 2 NHL games, but he's got leadership ability, and so there's guys. You can lead without having a letter, and we know that that's part of the process we're in right now. But our goal is to have an atmosphere when guys walk in the room that they can truly be themselves. They can, whatever that is. They're loud, they're quiet, they're serious, they're funny, and they're accepted. And when you create that culture and atmosphere, it allows people to be the best version of themselves. And I think that's what we're starting to feel in our room, that guys know they can come in and be who they are, and then you can grow from that. So I don't think anything changes the way that was part of the message of the team. Nothing changes the way we're doing things. It's just the leadership group, with the C and the A's is announced, but we expect the people that don't have it to still lead in their own way.
Last year. Go for it.
When Kyle kind of became the leader last year, just what transformation did you see among the group? I guess?
Well, he's got a really good feel for a couple things. One, the day-to-day, the team, the players, what they need. Donnie and I and the coaches spent a lot of time talking to Kyle, and he's giving us feedback. And hey, I see this, I sense this. Maybe we need to push a little harder. Maybe we need to pull back. So he's got a great feel for that day-to-day. The other thing he has great feel for is perspective, and the ups and the downs and maintaining consistency, and that comes with experience. So for me, that's just such an important part of leadership. It's not about standing up and pounding the table and saying, follow me. It's about consistently doing the right things, consistently saying the right things, and then people make the choice. People make the choice to follow. And what became very clear to me last year from this time as we move forward was because of the way he handles himself, the players say that's someone I want to follow, and learn from. So I think that's just as powerful as anything, else I could say today, just because of the way, and you guys talked to him, you know the way he treats people and the way he's bought into this community, and you've heard me say it a million times, we want people that want to be here and believe in what we're doing, and nobody exemplifies that more than Kyle.
Last year, Dahlin said that the atmosphere you're building has helped him become confident and feel more in tune with himself. How have you specifically noticed maybe his personality blossom, and where do you see him lead? How does Dahlin lead?
Well, Rasmus is very driven, like I said. The first way I'd say it is he's comfortable in his own skin right now. Donnie and I have talked a lot about Rasmus is a world-class talent and player and person, but we just want him just focusing every day when he walks in the room to be his best. He doesn't need to worry about expectations and all the pressures that go with being a high pick and coming in here and everybody wondering how you're going to do. Just go be you. And I've seen him narrow his focus to that, and he just wants to be the best he can be, and that's what I talk about, raising the standard. And when you have a guy like that practices that hard every day, pushes himself every day, wants the puck on his stick in the games, I think that's where I've seen kind of the growth maybe over the last 12, 18 months from him.
You just named a veteran who's a central part of your franchise, your captain. He's on an expiring contract. Have you broached an extension with him, or is that coming?
No, we haven't talked about that specifically, Mike, but we just feel that he's earned this right through the way he handles himself to wear that C, and that'll take care of itself. But for where we are with our team right now, it was the right decision. Clearly.
What has Zemgus meant to this group?
Yeah, Zemgus is. You think about his career and what he's been through, and what I love about Zemgus is every day's the same. He has a great ability. The highs and lows are there's just this calmness about him. Doesn't say a lot, but he shows up and he has instant respect, not only in our room but around the league. And he's got perspective again. I talk about that. You can only get that through experience. And, he's another guy that I enjoy sitting and talking with him because he's been through a lot here and he feels that we're going in the right direction. He feels what's building here. And I think that message then goes through the rest of our locker room that it wasn't, always like that for him here, and he's excited for the future. So that's a big part of Zemgus as well.
Kevin, you have to have the roster later today. A guy like JJ, and it's not a surprise. We could see he's struggling to find himself right now. He's a young kid. Is he going to be doing that here, or how do you feel he is right now? Where does he need to be to find himself?
Yeah, it's I've probably said this before, but in my opinion or my experience, there's no straight line up, straight trajectory up when you're talking about young players that are developing. I look at JJ, and he started off in the American Hockey League a little bit, whoa, this is fast, this is physical, how am I going to figure this out? And I don't remember, offense took a little while last year. He took off really after Christmas, but in my opinion, especially spending time with him and Seth and the coaches in Rochester, the details in practice were better. The details in the game were better. And then offense started coming. And then I thought, he was dominant in the playoffs last year. So we know here in Buffalo that young players are going to need reps. They're going to need to kind of figure some of these things out. Krebs is still young. Quinn's young. Obviously, Peterka. You look at even our back end with Samuelson. We're really excited about him in his future. But these guys have to just go through some of this stuff. So, yep, we're gonna push JJ. We're gonna challenge him to make sure that he's learning every day, he's growing every day. But I think the body of work that himself and Jack Quinn, in Rochester last year helped us feel comfortable that they're ready to take this step.
Kevin, how important is Thursday? It's only one of 82, but there's so much hype around what Ottawa did. It's a lot different than if you were playing Minnesota or St. Louis Thursday. How much does Thursday have a little more added significance?
Well, you know what? It's a really interesting question because you're right. It's one of 82, and what we don't want to have here is super highs, super lows, and you have to just kind of calmly every day get up and go about your business and make sure we're growing and we're learning and we're getting better. In saying that, it's really fun to have opening night at home against a division team. I talked to you guys in the summer. Every team's on their own path and made decisions as they think make sense for them. We're not going to measure ourselves against what other teams do or their path. We're going to measure ourselves against are we where we should be right now. And I certainly hope we're better, the next month and the next month and the next month. But we want to come out. We want to play well. We want to have energy. We want to show that this city and the fan base can still continue to get excited about this group. And I know how much our players care, but you can't overdo it with game one. You just got to go out and play and have fun, and then we'll just keep pushing to get better.
Kevin, how do you feel about this whole group having raised expectations compared to last year to now?
I think it's good. I think that's the biggest thing with expectations are it has to come from within your team. It has to come from within your locker room, because if you start looking at the outside expectations but the internal expectations aren't matching, that's where you can have trouble. What I know about our group is they're confident, they're driven. They're not really focused on what's being talked about on the outside, but they do believe in themselves and they do believe in each other. So that to me is when you have the recipe the right way. So I think it's a good thing. We've talked about it in the room. We've talked about it with the players. Let's be excited. Let's push each other. Let's make sure we're challenging each other. And that goes back to that environment and atmosphere that we want to have. And if you can have that within your room, it's way more powerful than anything from the outside or what people are saying or writing or talking about. So, and I do believe we have that.
And Kevin, do you have any update on Malcolm Subban from last night?
He's getting reevaluated this morning. Obviously, I don't know what you guys saw or didn't saw, but he left the game. It could be a little bit of time, but we won't know until probably later this morning exactly the length. Especially in the goaltender position where guys are going up and down and that. So I'll probably have more this afternoon on that. But it could be some time.
I'm sorry. How badly do you feel just because he's been through so much?
It's tough. I think frustrating for players, and having been there myself, when you work so hard to put yourself in a position to have success, you're healthy, had a good summer, and then you have a setback. So, he's just such a phenomenal person. And I told him we look at him as really important person in our organization. He has a really big job. So hopefully we get good news here in the next couple hours, and it's not as long as what it could be.
What have your impressions been of Dylan Cousins entering a big year for him?
Yeah, Dylan is in a similar spot to what I kind of touched on with Rasmus, where he was before, where Dylan is extremely driven. He wants to be the best. He loves it here. He loves his teammates. He wants to lead. Now, what we're trying to help Dylan is just to, get up every day, learn, be better today than you were yesterday, learn from a mistake you might have made. And I see that in his game now. He's starting to not expose the puck quite as much. Where when you first come in the league and you're 19 or 20 years old and you're bigger and faster than everybody at junior hockey, you can get away with things. It's starting to take him some time to learn those things, which is totally normal. And I'm seeing him take conversations that the coaches are having with him, take things he's doing in practice into the game. And he's got a confidence about him. I think he had a really good summer. He looks just bigger and, he's young. So I'm excited for the season he's going to have. I think he's excited to go out and really take a step this year.
What What have you thought of that line? You know, you're talking about JJ earlier. Peyton's still young, and Dylan's almost like the veteran of
Yeah.
the group. It's an interesting
Yeah.
trio there.
Yeah, it is. Well, first of all, they're all intelligent, so they will. You're going to make mistakes. It's part of growing and learning, especially as a young player. But they will learn from them. I think what the message has been to them is you don't always have to do something spectacular. It's not the end of the world at the end of a shift to lay a puck behind a defenseman or just to chip a puck out or not turn over a puck. So you're talking to them about that, but you don't want to take away their creativity and their skill and, you know, their ability and confidence to make plays. So some of that's just repetition and figuring it out. I do think, you know, you've seen Peyton, you've seen Casey, you've seen, you know, Dylan wing center. I think it's good to have roster flexibility like that. Peyton has looked to me like more comfortable as camp's gone on the wing than earlier in camp when he was at center. So it doesn't mean he's going to be a winger. We'll just kind of evaluate it. But I think there could be nights where, you know, a guy like Dylan even slides over to the wing. But I just think these guys, they love to push. They love to push each other in practice. They want to get better. And when you have that kind of mindset, it can be pretty powerful.
Kevin, do you expect players, or multiple players, to be on injured reserve when you set the roster today?
I don't, well, not multiple. Looks like, as of right now, I just met with the medical team, and Riley will start the season on the IR. He's improving, but, you know, just doesn't look like that he'd be able to be ready to go. And so, as of right now, that looks like, you know, how we'll start with from the IR standpoint, and then still finalize some stuff. Obviously, we'll have our roster set later this afternoon. We'll still finalize those last few conversations here this afternoon and be ready to go.
Has it been not stressful at all trying to get paired this roster down to the opening day group?
Well, yeah, I think what I've learned in this job is you always have a plan, and you're going to want to stick to your plan, but you can't be stubborn in the sense that you don't have your eyes open and pay attention and be willing to be flexible if you need to be. So every day I meet with the coaches and the hockey ops staff, and we talk about, is there a player on waivers that makes sense for us? Is there conversations that I'm having right now with teams around the league where maybe there's a player that is getting squeezed from a team, you know, in a cap situation? Does that help us? So you have a plan, but then you're being open to every one of the conversations. It's a busy time of year, but it's a fun time of year. I love it. I mean, it sounds weird, but like I love driving in. I love seeing the leaves changing and the colors, and I think it's hockey season, you know, and that gets me pumped up. Even though I'm old and don't play anymore, but I still get excited this time of year. It just feels like this is what it's all about.
Now that you've seen it on the ice, what do you think of your goalie situation heading into the year?
Well, I think a couple things. I've really been excited about the way UPL has come into camp, and I mean he had a good summer of training. Kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier, a little bit of injuries with players and how it can affect your training. He's in great shape. He doesn't look even in practice like he's having to overdo it, you know, to keep up. In games after games, he's still got great energy. So I think it's been a great sign from him. He's played really well. Obviously, when it comes to Andy, you know, he calms everybody down. He makes everybody around him better. He calms our defensemen down, and you know, he's been exactly what we were hoping for and expect from him. And then Comrie, you know, I give him a lot of credit because he, you know, I'm not sure if Donnie shared this or not, but he specifically asked to play in 2 road games when he knew we weren't going to have, you know, a real strong veteran lineup in. And the reason for that was he wanted to face more odd man rushes. He wanted to face more challenges, which he just felt it was going to get him ready. So he's exactly comes as advertised. Works hard in practice. Great team player, great character. So no, feel really good about where we're at from the goaltending perspective. You know, and I guess, like I've said, especially when it comes to UPL, we just want him playing. You know, we just want him to continue to get minutes, continue to get starts. And again, we'll have that conversation this afternoon with him. Good?
Thanks.
All right. Thanks, everyone.